Hey guys, before I get started, as always, I want to give a special thank you to my newest patron supporters, Jason Rogers, Zoidberg, Micluc, and Alan Hentges, I believe. Thank you, all four of you, for your support. Further, I really need to thank all of you that have supported me during this recent family tragedy, which, of course, is the reason for the recent drought in my videos. I've done some live streams during this time, but no written and produced videos due to the time that they take to produce, and I needed to spend time with my wife as she was going through the mourning process. Besides a heartfelt thank you for all your support, thank you for your understanding of my lack of production during this difficult time for my family. I genuinely can't put into words how much your support means to me. Now, I know. Stop thanking people and get on with the video already. I can already hear Anthony typing away as he comments on the video on how to skip all the sappy stuff. Man, that guy's a jerk. Now, I know that I generally like to start out my videos by thanking people, but sometimes, well, I really need to speak my mind. I mean, I love you guys, but sometimes you go too far. And I'm talking about Captain Rednek, who offered me a bribe to talk about Spaceballs and how it relates to Star Wars, specifically the Kathleen Kennedy era Star Wars. And frankly, I cannot believe that someone would actually have the nerve to bribe me. I am appalled at the very idea.
Saying, give me some money. Give me some money.
No, wait, seriously? He paid that much? Okay, get the mic on for me and... It's on. In a totally unrelated subject, let's take a look at how Spaceballs compares to the Kathleen Kennedy era of Star Wars. This episode of the Anti-Trekker is... Wait. Do I really have to read this? I mean, I know it's a lot of money, but... Fine. This episode of the Anti-Trekker is brought to you by my good friend, Captain Rednek. Thank you, Captain, for your support. First, let me say that this is not going to be a play-by-play review of Spaceballs. If there's enough interest, I may do a full review of Spaceballs in the future. But for now, I will just quickly sum up for you how the movie starts out and goes through the plot. As the movie begins, we start with an opening crawl very reminiscent of the Star Wars films. We find out that the Spaceballs are a race of bad guys, while the good guys live on the planet Druidia. Also, for reasons, the Spaceballs have used up all the air on their planet, and they want to steal the air from Druidia. Sure, okay, fine. The crawl ends by telling us that Princess Vespa is getting married and she is in danger. And then an extra section fades in saying that if you can read this, you don't need glasses. The Spaceballs are led by Dark Helmet and Colonel Sanders, and they are under the leadership of President Scroob, all of whom are completely and utterly incompetent. Our main heroes are Lone Star and Barf, the captain and first mate of the Eagle 5, a space Winnebago. No, I am not kidding. They're hired to rescue Princess Vespa since she ran away from her wedding to some prince and is being captured by the Spaceballs. And then we get a little sample of the juvenile humor of this film.
Careful, you idiot! I said across her nose, not up it!
Sorry, sir. I'm doing my best.
Who made that man a gunner?
I did, sir. He's my cousin.
Now, don't get me wrong. This is funny.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that. What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
And his cousin?
He's an asshole too, sir. Gunner's mate, first class, Philip asshole.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo!
Yeah, I'm not saying that juvenile is bad. It's just juvenile.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Keep firing, assholes!
Okay, that was good. You got me on that one. But while the asshole wordplay was funny, you follow that up with a really bad pun.
Radar about to be
jam!
Yeah, funny, but really stupid. So the puns continue on, and Lone Star rescues the princess. Ludicrous speed happens. They run out of gas, and... Wait. Now, wait just a fucking minute. You know that sound when the light bulb pops in over your head? Yeah, that one. Well, I just had a moment. All of a sudden, it all makes sense. It doesn't excuse the pile of crap that is the new Star Wars movies, but at least this may in fact explain the existence of the new Star Wars films. You ready for my theory? Okay, here it is. Kathleen Kennedy doesn't think that Spaceballs is a Star Wars parody. She thinks that Spaceballs is the original Star Wars. I know. You're probably just thinking that this is just a clickbait joke trying to get views. And, well, yes, but it still fits. Let's look at a few of the facts from this film, starting with the most recent one we just uncovered. A major plot development in Spaceballs is that the Eagle 5 ran out of gas, and later they need to fuel it up in order to get to Druidia. Now, the entire plot of The Last Jedi is pushed by the idea that the Resistance fleet is running out of gas, and they're hoping to scrape up enough fuel to get to Crate. Prior to The Last Jedi, there's never been a mention of a starship in Star Wars running out of fuel. Also, of course, the whole plot of Solo revolves around getting fuel for, spoiler alert, the rebellion. I know. You're probably just thinking it's just a coincidence. But how about the fact that the main antagonist is a wannabe Darth Vader that keeps taking off his helmet? Okay, sure. That could just be happenstance. I get it. Lots of villains have had masks, and it's not uncommon to remove them in the story because the actor wants his or her face to be seen. But wait, what about the fact that both of these wannabe Darth Vaders have a cowardly sidekick that's in command of the ship despite the fact that Darth Vader wannabe is clearly the more capable leader? I mean, let's face it, Hux and Colonel Sanders are basically the same character. Okay, not enough? One of the biggest complaints about the newer Star Wars films is that Rey seems a bit overpowered at best. I mean, let's be real. Rey is the most powerful Force user ever, can use weapons she's never seen before like she's a pro, is an expert pilot, and yet despite being skilled at just about everything is just a simple scavenger. It's almost like she is Luke Skywalker and Han Solo rolled into one character. Or she's like Lone Star, who in Spaceballs is the wisecracking hero for hire like Han and has the power of the Schwartz like Luke. Rey is based on Lone Star. It's all beginning to make sense now. Now, we could also talk about the obvious comparison to Scroob and Snoke, but then neither character was really developed, and it's not like either was nearly as scary as they were built up to be, so why bother? Also, remember Rose's little medallion that was so meaningful to her? Well, look, Lone Star has one as well. Granted, the meaning of the medallion is a little bit different. For Rose, it was her connection to her sister. For Lone Star, it was his connection to his parents, and he never knew who they were. Wait a minute! So a really big mystery of the character of Rey is that she didn't know who her parents were, and Lone Star doesn't know who his parents are. Wow. But I'm sure this is all just coincidence. Oh yeah, and our hero Lone Star finds a mysterious temple that is a sacred training ground for users of the Schwartz that's in a big cave, with a little old man running the place. He also learns that he is the most gifted Schwartz user ever, even though just before the events of this film, Lone Star has never even heard of the Schwartz. Now, does that ring a bell, anybody? I mean, anybody? Oh, and look, we find out later that the entire purpose of this whole movie is just to sell merchandise. Yeah. Oh, and what do we have here? Our heroes get in trouble for a parking violation? I swear I've heard that one before. I know that some of you are probably thinking that I'm just focusing in on the 2 saga films that have come out. Wrong. Remember that big shield gate from Rogue One? Well, guess what? They got that from Druidia. And let's not forget about the feminist robot from Solo. Where do you think they got that idea? You guessed it. And you remember in The Last Jedi how they had to sneak on to the main enemy ship to disable a vital system? Well, yeah, they got that here too. Also, remember when Michael Burnham was able to do the Vulcan neck pinch even though she's not even a Vulcan? Oh, wait, wrong franchise. Wait a minute. Could it be that CBS actually thinks that Spaceballs was the original Star Trek? Oh, man. You may also remember that the Darth Vader wannabe was beaten by Rey in a lightsaber duel, even though Rey had no experience with the Force. Well, you got it. They got that from here. Also, do you remember how that alien popped out of John Hurt's chest? Oh, dang. Wrong franchise again. Sorry. How about what an absolutely horrible remake of Planet of the Apes Tim Burton made? Now, I know this is a different franchise again, but is it really all that far-fetched that Tim Burton got his idea from this? And of course, I had to save the best for last. Remember how it was the Darth Vader wannabe that told Rey that her family meant nothing? Well,
before you die, there is something you should know about us, Lone Star.
What?
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing!
okay, sure. All of this could just be coincidence, but I am not so sure. With all this blatant disregard of all the prior lore from Star Wars, it seems that Kathleen Kennedy really does not understand Star Wars at all. But if you look at these elements, the newer Star Wars are truer to Spaceballs than they are to the original Star Wars. And that is a really disturbing trend. Do they sit around the office at Lucasfilm and laugh at Spaceballs and say, hey, let's remake that part? Is this really where we're going at this point? Because really, all the new Star Wars films are is a rehash of plot points from Spaceballs with a political agenda thrown on top. I really find this a disturbing trend in the future of Star Wars. I'm very pessimistic about Star Wars. Now, look, I am not saying that Spaceballs is a horrible film, and I'm certainly not saying it's a masterpiece. It's a silly Mel Brooks parody of Star Wars. As far as parodies go, I would call it on the low side of average. I mean, quite frankly, if you want to see really good sci-fi parody, you can check out Robot Chicken, you can check out the Family Guy Star Wars specials. On the Star Trek side, you can check out the Orville or Galaxy Quest. This is not that level of parody. And the real difference here is that all those ones that I just mentioned, the Robot Chicken, the Family Guy shows, the Orville, and Galaxy Quest, were all made out of a genuine, sincere admiration and love for the source material with a sense of humor. However, Mel Brooks, I would dare hazard a guess that he was not a Star Wars fan. And he probably looked at Star Wars and said, wow, this is really stupid. How can I make a movie about how really stupid this is? Because that's really what about 90% of the jokes in Spaceballs come out to be. Hey, look how stupid hyperspace is. Let's make it ludicrous speed. Look how stupid Yoda is. Let's make him yogurt, and we'll make him the merchandiser. Look how stupid the Force is. Let's call it the Schwartz because it sounds Jewish, I guess. You can tell Mel Brooks has no reverence, no respect for the original Star Wars material. And neither does Kathleen Kennedy. And that is ultimately why the new Star Wars films feel more like Spaceballs than Star Wars. Because both Spaceballs and the new Star Wars films were made with nothing but contempt for the original source material. And you can't make a sequel when you despise the original. Really, the only difference, when it's all boiled down, the only difference between Spaceballs and the new Star Wars films that Lucasfilm under Kathleen Kennedy is putting out is that Spaceballs is at least trying to be funny, while Star Wars has literally just become laughable. at least Spaceballs has some jokes that actually work.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Keep firing, assholes!
Take care, and may the Schwartz be with you.